In my last video, I showed you how to record a macro, and we recorded a macro which inserted a total in this cell. So if you press Alt F8, it brings up this box, and this is the macro. If we run it, it inserts a total in this cell. Now let us run the same macro on this cell and see how it works. We can see this macro doesn't work with this cell. It only works with this one. If I delete this again, keep my cursor here again and run the macro, it will work for this cell only. Let us see why the macro is doing that by looking at the code. I will press Alt F8 again and I will select the macro and go to Edit button. It opens up the editor window and takes me to that macro. I will drag this window again to the side so that we can see both the windows, and I will close this window. So this macro selects range D8, which is this one. You can see the name here, and then again it selects the same range. So this statement is redundant. We can remove that by commenting it out. And then this application.cutCopy mode equals false. This statement clears the copy buffer, and we can move this statement down here so that at the end of the macro it clears the copy buffer. This is the main statement that inserts a formula in the selected cell. So we selected D8, this one, and then we entered this formula in the cell. And then it selects range D4 to D8. And then we changed the number format of that cell. Then we auto-fitted the entire column, D column, this one, and then we exited the macro. So that is what the macro is doing. Where is the problem? The problem lies here in these statements. Range D8 select. Range D8 is always range D8 for this whole sheet. Even if you are here or here or here, anywhere in the sheet, range D8 is always this. So it always selects that range D8 wherever you are, and then it inserts the formula in the selection. So first it selects it and then it enters the formula. So your intention was to select this range and insert the formula here, but this line selects the range D8 and then this line enters the formula in it. And then again, this is a hard-coded D4 to D8. This statement also selects these 4-5 cells always. And then once it is selected, it changes the number format. This also is a hard-coded column DD. So it will always auto-fit column DD. And then again it selects range D8 and then it clears the copy buffer and then exits. So let us record another macro, and this time we will select this use relative references button before recording. So I will press the record macro button. I will name it insert total dynamic. I'll skip the shortcut key and the description, and I'll press OK again. This macro starts recording, but we can't see it here. So we will go to View, Project Explorer. Control R is the shortcut, and we can see that another module is inserted. Whenever you start a new session and record a macro, the macro is recorded in a new module. So it inserted this module 2 here, and if I double click that, this is the macro which is getting recorded. So here I will press the use relative references button and then start doing my actions. In this cell, I will sum and control enter. Control enter keeps the cursor in the same cell. So this time it just wrote one line of code, selection.formula R1C1 equals this. Then we select all these cells and go to number and change it to currency. So I will stop the macro recorder here. And now let us see both the macros side by side. Let us move this macro, cut it, Control R, take it to the other module and paste it here. If you move a macro from one module to another, it doesn't affect anything. The macro is still available. It's just that you moved the macro for your convenience. So now let us analyze these two macros. Here we can see that it selects this range D8. Here it doesn't select any cell. So whatever cell I selected in the first place, it remains there and it inserts the formula in that cell only. And then it uses offset property of the active cell. So this is the active cell when I selected this cell in the first place. So it selects minus 4 cells, means 4 cells above here. So this cell dot range A1 to A5, and from here it selects 5 cells down. So it considers this one as A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. It selects these 5 cells and then it changes the number format. And then where is the active cell? This is the active cell. Offset 4. So it will be, this 4 is positive. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Whenever the offset is negative, you have to count backwards from bottom to top. Whenever the offset is positive, you have to count from top to bottom. So this active cell offset 4 from here will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it selects this cell. So this cell is only one cell. So range A1 will be this cell only. So it selects it. So whenever you press use relative references button, it changes the way it records the macro from absolute recording to relative recording. In this case, it records range D8 absolute. So wherever you are in this sheet, range D8 will be this only. And in this case, it starts from the active cell. So it records relative to the active cell when you press use relative references button. So now let us test this macro on another range of cells. Let me copy this here and let me change the number formatting. Control Shift tilde is the shortcut to change the number formatting to general. So now the number formatting has become general. And then I will select this cell. I will remove the totals and I will test my new macro. Alt F8 is the shortcut to bring up this box. I will select insert total dynamic and run it. If we have another table here, this time we say with different numbers, and if we run the macro, it will run it again. So now you understand how the use relative references button works. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it interesting. See you in the next video.